Alright, this should be working. Ooh, there we go. Alright, so since I cannot pin Shadow down to do a full recording of everything that we've built, I decided to just do a fun recording of our farm because I wanted to show it off to a coworker of mine and just in general because I remain absolutely proud of everything that we have built. My name's Soth, woo! I'm just going to be doing, like I said, a brief tour of the farm because farming is very important when it comes to Valheim, and you got to have all the crops. One thing about the farm is that it's got a trench around it from back in the olden days when we would use that as a defense. We don't use those anymore, but it's kind of a relic of the past, and I think it just works out well. So this is just kind of a front shot of it. There are like 4 entrances across the trench, and we're just going to use this one here because it's kind of the main one, but kind of not. But I don't know. I like to put up signs and stuff just with fun things to say on them and kind of pointing you around the world because we really have expanded everywhere in this world and built a lot of things. So if you don't use portals, it's useful to get around. I'm going to go ahead and cross. Close the door behind me. And coming into the farm here, right over here on the right, first of all, we have our chicken coop. They keep the chickens safe, keep them all nicely fenced in. I just fed some of them, so they should hopefully be mostly happy. Although some of them look like they're still hungry. I don't know why. There's seeds there for you guys. And they just kind of get to free roam, have a nice little thing here. They do get a barn. There's a torch up here to give a fire benefit if I ever want to hatch more chickens. And otherwise, we just have a nice decorative chicken coop here with some hay for them to sleep on and stuff like that. No one's escaped from a fence yet. They apparently love to congregate on top of this roof. And I guess maybe I should seal this off because they're falling behind there, although I think they can get out. So, continuing on, the main focal point of the farm obviously is going to be the field. We have a lot of expanse here to plant all kinds of crops. We do have a mod that lets us plant everything here, even though we do have other farms, and that includes some of these berries along this wall here as well. I guess I need to pick some of these to see if we can get some more, but we have a nice vineberry wall surrounding the actual farm here. Continuing on, obviously we have a barn, because you gotta have a nice place for the piggies. Their own free roam range thing here as well. Comes around back. We have plenty of boars, and they should be pretty safe from attack. They have a nice little spot to bathe and get a drink of water, as well as mostly decorative food when we do feed them, but you know, just some good old decorative food. Squealers. KO named a lot of these, so they're all kind of his. Snorty. And this is the barn itself. Again, more lovely food. A fire in here to keep them warm amongst the hay. And then, as with any good barn, there is a hayloft up here. Mostly decorative. I like doing useless decorative things. It's what I do. Continuing along with the barn, this is kind of the storehouse for a lot of the crops and stuff, as well as the tools. Oh, someone just gave birth. So you have all of the cultivators as well as all the crops and stuff. I apparently needed to do some organization there because that looks like a mess, but that's okay. And then here on the right, there is an additional root cellar to store more things because you got to have plenty of storage and you got to have plenty of stuff to do. And if you can't tell, I love candles, and I have a mod that lets the candles burn forever because thank goodness, because I have so many candles. Here's the front of the cabin. I'll go in there in just a minute, but this is kind of the front of the house. If you continue along here around the outside, there's another one of the entrances that kind of leads more down towards the port. Right here is the apiary, or the bee area. We've planted some royal jelly here as well that you can harvest, as well as obviously a whole bunch of beehives to get all the bees and flowers for them to collect from and stuff like that. I do have the mod plant anything, which lets me put things like the royal jelly down, so that's why we have some in this random black forest. So over here extends along. We used to have Locks kind of as a defender, but Locks are very good at smashing just about everything, so we've kind of penned them up. That's South Jr., This is Shadow Jr. for me and Shadow. And you can see they're fed, they have water. It's a forge cooler, but they have water. And they're kind of like, almost like cattle that are being kept here. They're good boys. I just didn't want them smashing everything, but they have a nice comfy house now. Hello! Poking his head around. Here's kind of the back of the trench and everything. There is a lot more that direction, but I'm not going to go look at it this time. This part here kind of comes. Here's the back of the house. I'll add a little bit in a little bit here. It's kind of leading out the back door of the house to this nice little open spot, as it were. Like I said, leads off to a lot more. Coming out the back of the house here over to the right, we have a couple tanning racks, and this little cabin right here is actually the smokehouse. So this is where we would cook all of our meats. Again, purely decorative, but I don't know. I think it looks cool. This door here leads out to all of the chopped wood and everything like that that you would need to run a smokehouse. And there's kind of a side look at the cabin. I do have a little archery target here, which you would get from the upper balcony there. Funnily enough, they just announced that they're going to add real archery targets, so I'm going to get to replace this with something for real. There are windmills. These can get used. They're mostly decorative, though. We actually have windmills in the plains where the wind actually works, of course. And then a whole bunch of like that kind of hills. Not actually. Oh, up here. So I made a pond. I guess it's more of a frozen pond because I used so much glass to do this, but kind of looks like it's got like a little waterfall and a little pond here as well. Since we can't actually manipulate water, I just thought it looked nice for up here in here. Just kind of is the path that leads be the quote-unquote main entrance. It's kind of the most grand, and it will lead up into the mountains where our main castle is, but for now. So once again, here's the cabin. We have this really nice wraparound porch to kind of go along with it. You can kind of walk along it here. I'll get a nice frontal shot. This was originally built by a friend of ours named Ness. She kind of had the basic layout, and I really liked the look of it, but we did kind of tear it down and then build it up so I could add a whole second floor to really kind of expand upon it there to make it look really nice. So I will say, props to her for kind of the original idea of the design, and then me and Shadow, expanded on it from there. Just some nice plants to go along. Like I said, the porch here just wraps around to all the way around. There's a couple of different entrances, and there's something else out here that I'll show as we go through the house. So if I go in the front door, there we go. So we have the kind of basement floor here. So obviously you have your oven and your cooking station, and really just this whole grand kitchen here. So this oven, this cauldron, this is all fully operational. Although I don't have a mead cauldron, I guess I should put that over here. That would probably make the most sense. But as you can see here, it's kind of like a whole full food prep area. We've got a little sink here, soap, a whole bunch of raw food and stuff like that kind of being prepared. Our spice racks, our lights, all of our different spices here. Because any Viking needs, a really good hearty feast to get out there and fight. So we have eggs and bread being made as well, some stews, and then over here, obviously, the feast has been prepared and is being set out for all the workers. Little candles there in the center. Everyone's got a setting, mead, the nice whole roasted boar. Our pies are cooling on the windowsill. And then over here we have, obviously, our dishes with our serving tray. The iron bucklers are plates, and our dvergers, tankards. And then I like to put, books out. So using a shield as a plate, how to avoid spoiled meat, don't be chicken, raise some hens. So I don't know. I enjoy good puns. We have a whole library where I've just been creating fun book names using the signs. Sieging a farm, reference to when we tore down the farm, we sieged it ourselves, which was super fun. Back over here, you can see I've got like a nice little candle display. And under the stairs, we have just some storage and stuff like that, a kettle and stuff like that. These portals go to the Mistlands farm as well as the other grain farms and stuff like that we do have kind of as backup and as needed, just to kind of get around there. We're not going to go there as well. Shadow comment that as I was putting out all this stuff here, he's like, we have all this raw meat, and all of it's going to go bad because we have no refrigeration. So I made us a cold storage under the back stairs. So as you can see, we have kind of all of our raw foods, a whole bunch of ice glands to keep it nice and cold, ice creams and stuff like that. So we do have a nice little refrigerator back here under the stairs. Close that. You got to keep the doors closed. And if I circle around, we can go up the stairs. And here's a portal back to the actual main castle that goes to the castle itself, which is where all our beds and stuff are. We've got some hunting trophies. And that up there is actually where all the crafting stations are. So the stone cutter and everything like that. So they're kind of hidden by that. Could probably raise the things up a little bit higher to kind of hide that a little bit better, but that's okay. We've got a little art on the walls. This is the back door. It leads out, obviously, to this little walkway here. And one other thing to point out about the farm is that on the back side here, not really connected to the end of the porch, but down over here, we actually do have a wine cellar under the house. So you can get under here, and there is, it made to look kind of like storage and stuff like that, but we have our wine records and a whole bunch of fermenters and stuff like that, the Christmas decorations in storage, ingredients, and just a whole bunch of like wine bottles and stuff like that. Apparently a carrot fell through the floor at some point. That's weird. I wonder what that was from. And then this kind of continues around here to this more rough passage where we planted a whole bunch of mushrooms that we can harvest and stuff like that, just so we never run out of those. So go back around here, open the door. Oopsies. Close that. Up. We can go in the back door, and then it doesn't matter which way you go up. We can go up either level. And this is kind of the bedroom up here for the house. We've got a nice bed, the tables, the decorations, the hot tubs, the chairs, everything like that, to give you a pretty high level of rested. I don't think it has every level, but that's okay. It's just meant to kind of be the bedroom and look really nice. And then over here, since we don't have them in the castle, we have our spinning wheels, and I made this look kind of like a whole sewing area. So you can see here we have, the silver knife looking like a seam cutter, iron nails for needles, threads, different colored dyes. The gem cutter is like a sewing machine, and just all kinds of stuff like that. Clothing everywhere. The coolers kind of like dye baths and stuff like that with all the different colors, just to make it a nice, kind of like a room. Lock settle that was sewed over there, and then you can go out the front, and you have the upper balcony that also wraps around. A little simplistic, like I showed before. This kind of comes over here and will lead to this archery area, to kind of do the target practice, which can kind of be remade later on, and then nice little seating area with like an extended deck. Really, that's that we've built. I'm super it. Still get Shadow to sit down and make an entire video of everything that we built, because this is really just a very, very small fraction of all the different stuff that we have. I hope everyone out there enjoyed it, especially the people that I recorded this for, and thanks.